Javon and Pam Houbolt have a full house. With 2 teenaged boys, an 11-year-old girl, and 3 under the age of 5, they have plenty of schedules and activities to juggle. But even more, they've had to make adjustments, becoming parents in a very short period of time.
I actually am not able to have children. And ever since I was young, I knew that. But God had always just gave me a sort of a vision that we would live in a big, big house and have a lot of kids, and never really thought about it again until we've moved here.
They had to leave friends and family in Ontario to start a new life here in central Alberta. But there was a whole new family and home waiting for them. It's also become their full-time job.
We try to make it as normal as a family can be. That's what we try to do for these kids. They live with us 24/7. We treat them as if they were our own kids. That's one thing we did right from the very beginning. We spend time with them. We do things they like. They do things we like. You know, we try to make it a family, and hopefully it is. But sometimes it's hard. But
getting along with your family can be difficult at the best of times. But in the worst of times, families can fall apart. As house parents for Bethany Homes, the Houbolt's job is to break that fall. There are plenty of wide open spaces here in the outskirts of Wetaskiwin, Alberta. But this space is dedicated to bringing families back together. And for over 60 years, 800 children at one point or another have called Bethany home.
The barracks used to be right here in this open spot right here.
Although the buildings have changed in 60 years, the philosophy of Bethany Homes for Children hasn't. Director Margot Frolick says it was always intended to be a refuge for families in crisis.
Just to help children in need, to help families that were needing an alternative, were needing a place for their children to be, and to show God's love in practical ways, to have the children part of a family.
The land was originally intended for an orphanage for European refugees in 1948. But when founders Harvey and Elsie Jesperson took over, they found there was plenty of need in their own backyard. Children who weren't exactly orphans, but needed a home. And so they became a mom and dad to many, albeit temporarily. Their legacy carries on today.
We have 2 homes, and so they're placed in a home with our house parents. And our house parents are a couple that live here full-time. This is their full-time job. Wherever the child is at, that's where we try and meet them. We try and find out their likes and their dislikes, and we just try and do our best to meet them where they're at, and just help them step by step, day by day.
okay, take a step, come.
Cheering them on as they take these steps is the Houbolt's job. And some of those steps are monumental. Others are more difficult and take time.
But we really do focus on them, and when they do good, we really try to reward them. We do discipline. We try to show them God's love through discipline, because that's how they're going to learn for their future. And you know, we're active in our church and youth group and, you know, kids clubs, and we really try and show them God's love.
Love isn't something that's easy to show or grasp for the kids who come to the home, according to Frolick. And that's where God comes in.
When they come and we let them know, we love you, and we love you, and they tell us, well, you're paid to love me, you're the staff. No, we love you, we want to be here. God has placed us here. God has given us this love for you, and sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes when they're yelling and screaming at you and telling you to get lost, it's really hard, but we are determined, once a child comes here, we feel that it's very important to have that child remain here until we've all decided that it's time for them to move on, be it move home or wherever their next move may be.
The kids who come are here by choice, though it's not always an easy one to make. They are encouraged to stay for at least a school year, so there's some stability in their life. Raymond and Robert have both spent a few years at Bethany. And even though they aren't related, in many ways, they've become brothers. What do you think of this place?
It is awesome, I guess. I don't know, it's my home away from home.
What about you, Ray?
I've been here for, well, November 15th will be 2 years,
Okay.
I guess.
The Hobbolts may not be mom and dad, they call them aunt and uncle, but they have become a family in the time they've been here. What do you think of the other kids here?
They're annoying, but they're good.
So it's kind of like having a family,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it is pretty much like he's my younger brother, Mary's my younger sister, and I guess, but really they're not, but in theory.
Yeah, you feel close to them.
Sure.
Can you sit properly?
Though they live here, they still have a home elsewhere. And the goal of Bethany Homes is to get them back there when the time is right.
Yes, our goal is always to have the children return back home. So of course we need the families to be having regular visits with the children. So if they come from a distance, then we feel like we need to have a place available for the families to stay so they can visit their kids. Whoa!
But sometimes that just isn't possible. The Hobbolts are in the midst of adopting these 3 little girls. They are already quite at home.
Good parent is someone that's willing to take the time to try to understand the child and not just look at how they grew up, but as try to understand that kids are growing up and they're not always the same as how we were when we were kids, and just try to see where they're coming from and just to be able to come alongside them and help nurture them.
There have been plenty of changes over the years, but Frolic says the best ones are those that take place in the children, once they have security and love in their lives.
To be able to be here on a daily basis and see the changes in the kids' lives and see them come from children who just have no hope and seem so dejected and so angry, and see them over the months turn around to kids that have a purpose and know they are loved and know that they can make it.
And 60 years later, there's still a need to give families a home away from home. Run entirely on private donations, Bethany Homes has had to face closing its doors more than once. But Frolic says God always intervened.
And you know what the future holds? I'm not sure, but I know that if we stay in God's will, that, Lord willing, Bethany Homes will have another 60 years, because I know that families are very, very dear to God's heart.
And if the saying home is where the heart is, then many have called these wide open spaces outside of Wetaskiwin their home. Do you think there's a need for places like this out here?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
We need more of them, because it's not like, this isn't like a foster home thing either. It's just a place where you put your kid if they need help and they help you, and then they give you advice and whatnot, and to their parents and you, and then you just learn from them, right? And then when you're ready, you can go home.
Do you feel loved here?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But I do a lot.
In the meantime, the Hobbolts are really starting to get the hang of parenting, with all its highs and lows.
It's rewarding to see how God can take a situation that might not seem very good and might not seem like there's a lot of hope to it, and to see that God can make the change in that person's life and see good come from it.
In Wetaskiwin, Alberta, Denise, Lodde, 100 Huntley Street.